And if anyone sees any wildlife they'd like to point out, please interrupt me, just holler out, point it out. There we go, there's another seal traveling away from us. I don't care how interesting the history of a fort may be, if you see a seal, that trumps it. Now, do I have any locals on board, or are we all from far away? Any local Portlanders? Yay, welcome aboard. They do carry mail. They also carry passengers, freight, cargo, whatever's needed out here on the island. And of course, they also have some couple of gorgeous schooners right in front of that, a schooner and a sloop. Schooner's got those two masts, so hopefully we'll see some of them with their sails unfurled out during the day. I think they are really beautiful, old-timey looking vessels. And a sloop in front of that with the one mast. A couple of tugboats out here, those are the McAllister tugboats. Looks like we're on a cruise ship too. Is anyone here from the cruise ship? Excellent. Where are you all headed? North. Oh, a bunch of places. Yeah, you folks aren't even going to remember this boat ride. Enjoy. How many people does your cruise ship hold? Really not as important as Liberty Ship. They were called Liberty Ship. That's a really good question though. I imagine auxiliary. I need another cup of coffee to pronounce that word correctly. Scattered throughout our trip today. We went right over there, sticking straight up. Specifically, those buoys are lines that set down to traps that sit on the bottom of the main floor. Now, if you are a lobsterman or lobster, engaging in this portion of the tour, we do call our national shellfish portion of the tour. This is still South Portland. Everything you see on the right side of the boat right now is mainland. As you go to the left, everything you see over there is island. There are so many islands here, known as no other island region. So many people are engaged in now, we are very strict definitions of what an island is. Dry, that's an island. So according to that definition, there's about 700 of them. here from 1872 to 1962. Then Cape Elizabeth bought it for about $200,000, converted it into a 19-acre apartment. Beautiful place to visit. Lots of gorgeous trails that go throughout the park. It also is attached to Portland Airport. We have the Strout family lived there for over 50 years. They raised 9 children in that home that's attached there to the lighthouse. One out there? Okay, so that one out there is Grand Island Lead Light. Are they redoing it? I don't know. It is now privately owned. But I'll tell you a little bit more about it. When we just first mentioned everything you see behind us is Gulf of Maine and Polar Atlantic. There is from here no other land than 604 people left under by the way. So the Grand Island Lead Light is an ancient looking one you see up on the right side. That was built in 1905. This is the second biggest lighthouse in the state. And 90 feet tall, made out of granite. Now, this thing would go where the light was. Old Portland had some best place, but it's absolutely the worst place. Because just is the one part that's the base of that tower. This 100 feet randomly assigned to the lighthouse facility. It did have a kerosene heater, but the residents, they had to walk out and essentially here to the outhouse at the end of it. So, ocean waves also what did it so hard. It would make the whole tower rootless without. So, not the greatest place to work. But fortunately for lighthouse keepers, they did run underwater cable holders. Covers. Not something you put it in or not something you carry, but what goes around the actual umbrella to protect it. I don't know. They do have a little place you can visit. It's a tiny museum right there on one of the main streets. But Peaks Island is known as the island that has one of everything. So you want for nothing out here. There's one elementary school, one branch of the library, one police officer. There might be 2 now. They do have one general store. It's that gray building you see right there, the large one. It's called Hannigan. And they have a slogan in their store. It's, if we don't have it, you don't need it. So Peaks Island also used to be home to the Gem Theater. So it was a large theater where Drew Barrymore's grandparents used to perform. And there was also a young usher who worked there named John Feeney. So when he started working there, he fell in love with cinema and theater very quickly. And he said, you know, someday when he came of age, he was going to go out to Hollywood and he was going to work in the movies. That's how much he loved it. So that day came, and he bought a car and drove out to Hollywood. He took a ferry to the mainland, and then he drove out to Hollywood. And he couldn't find work because there were signs everywhere saying Irish need not apply. Feeney is a very Irish last name, so fortunately for him it was as simple as changing his last name after the car he drove out there in, Ford. So he became John Ford and ended up as a 6-time Academy Award winning director in Hollywood. So if you've heard of John Ford, that would be why. He discovered the Duke, John Wayne. They actually were fishing buddies and they used to hang out here. I'll show you their favorite fishing spot up ahead. A little Diamond Island. They thought it had a bit more panache. And they also built this casino out here with a red roof. It's now a community center, but when they built it, casinos were less about gambling and more about like dancing and potlucks. So what they would do is they would bring folks out to now Little Diamond Island, show them a great time at the casino, and then they'd take them on a tour around the island and show them all of the homes they were developing. So within 30 days of opening this casino, they sold every last piece of property on Little Diamond Island. So it worked. Almost like a timeshare, but not something you regret. They got a bunch of lobster traps at their neighbor's house next door. If you haven't seen a lobster trap before, that's what they look like. And we know it's high tide now because up ahead we see an osprey nest barely sticking out of the water. That's perched atop a piece of wood that's attached to a shipwreck underneath. There's actually 3 shipwrecks here. They were intentional shipwrecks. So there are 3 boats that served long careers out here on Casco Bay. And when it was time to retire the ships, it cost a lot to dismantle it and pay someone to haul off the pieces. So they just wrecked those ships right here. You can see them pretty well at low tide. Now beyond that is a little, there's actually, you can't see it now because of it being high tide, but there's a little tract of land that connects Little Diamond Island with Great Diamond Island up ahead. So it's a sandbar that at low tide is actually wide enough and dense enough that you can drive a fish-sized swimming pool. That lobster type of building being processed to be shipped all over the globe. So remember, the schooners have the 2 masts. You see the sailboat with 1 mast, it's called a sloop. And if you see a sailboat with no mast, we like to call that a shipwreck. You can see the Casco Bay ferries there. Those yellow stripes around the bottom. And apparently we have a harbor seal here. Front of one of the ferry boats, yep, coming up for air, diving back down. Now, there is one thing I'd like to point out about this waterfront. In the 70s and 80s, it was a pretty dilapidated place. It was not a place you'd come to visit. Of course, now we see Portland as a world-class destination, full of dining and shopping opportunities. But in the 70s and 80s, not so much. But we did have one pioneering entrepreneur named Tony DeMillo, who had a successful restaurant, but he wanted one out here on the waterfront. He just had this vision for what this place could be. But when he went to banks to get a loan to finance this operation he envisioned, they laughed him out the door. They said, in Portland? No, we're not doing it. But Tony DeMillo, as any person with a vision, was persistent. What he ended up doing was he composed 250 letters, and he sent them to his closest friends and associates. And he said to them each, he said, listen, all I need from you is $1,000. If you give me $1,000, I'll give you $1,200 in store credit, I'll give you priority seating in my restaurant, and I'll even put your name on a plaque. Well, he raised the money that he needed to buy this white and light blue striped park ferry, and now it's a floating restaurant with 600 seats that rise and fall with the tides. Tony actually built himself the most successful restaurant in the state of Maine. Now, Tony's no longer with us, unfortunately, but they do say there is always a DeMillo on the property. So, if you haven't eaten at DeMillo's and you have some time, we totally recommend it. We like